Hey guys, how are you? Andy Suku, founder and CEO of Y2K Credit Solutions. All right. Got a new topic today, and this topic is actually a big topic. There's a lot of things to talk about in this topic, and it has to do with a consumer law. As you can see, I have lots of notes to talk about. I scribbled my notes anyway. I just have to make sure I check my data before I came on here and talk about this topic. But there's a lot to talk about this topic. And before I get into the topic, there's a few things that I want to address with this topic. I want to make sure I'm very clear to you guys of my message about this topic. And so first off, recently you've seen a lot of guys coming on podcasts talking about consumer law. You can sue the credit bureaus, and you can get money, and all this talk about consumer law. I'm not saying you cannot sue the credit bureaus. As a consumer, you have the right to do anything you feel or you deem that's not correct on your credit report. You can sue the credit bureaus, you can sue the creditors, you can sue each other, you can sue the attorney, you can sue whoever you want to sue as a consumer. You have the rights to do so. But what these guys are not telling you, they're not telling you the real true story about consumer law and how it works. But before I get into the topic, I want to talk to you guys about some stuff. First off, if you look at the people that's talking about this consumer law and you can sue the credit bureaus, these are the same people that are washed up. These are the people that had these mom and pop credit bureau company, didn't work out for them a year after. They jumped on another bandwagon of some sort of Instagram hook or whatever you want to call it, scam, to try to get your money again. That didn't work out. And so it's the same people that went from one product to another product to another product to another product. Now they're talking about consumer law. So there's no one difference. The same people that's just washed up. One business didn't fail, start on to another business, and that's these people that's going on this choo-choo train talking about consumer law, and you can sue the credit bureaus. That's one, right? Two, in the consumer law industry, you have to have an attorney file the documentation or write the summons or the lawsuit, whoever you sue in the credit bureaus. An attorney that specializes in consumer law has to do it. These fake gurus that are Instagram cannot do it for you. They cannot do it for you. And they're just scamming you. And I'll tell you how the scam is going on. And I'll tell you how they're scamming you. But they cannot sue the credit bureau. They're not an attorney. You need an attorney to do it. And you need someone that's licensed and someone that specializes in consumer law to advocate for you in this process if you're going to sue the credit bureaus, okay? Now, this is how the scam goes. There's not a lot of attorneys in the industry that do consumer law. And if you find an attorney, there's a handful, I know a few of them that does it. If you find a attorney that does it, that offers this service, it's not the only legal service. They're probably like a general practice attorney. So they do general litigation cases, and they add on consumer law as a la carte to their services. There's not an attorney that specializes in consumer law all day because there's no money to be made in it. Now, what these guys are doing, that's on the gurus, the credit fake scam gurus, they're telling you, oh, you can sue the credit bureaus. They're doing the service for you. They're charging you fees upwards to $2,500, $3,000, telling you that they'll do the work for you. You as a consumer don't know how it works because you are one, either too lazy or too ignorant to do the research, because all of this information is on the CFPB website. It's on the FTC website. It's in the Fair Credit Reporting Act law books. It's all there. It's black and white. You can even Google it. You can even Google consumer law. What's your rights? It'll come up. Maybe you can even talk to ChatGPT. Who knows? The point is, the information is out there already. But you guys are so quick to find the loopholes to get scammed, and you're falling for all this horse shit these guys are talking. These guys are charging you $2,500, $3,000. They're going to say that they write one letter. You're going to go online, use someone as a letterhead, write the letter, send you a copy. This is the letter we sent. Yada, yada. They wait 3, 4, 5 months. Then they're going to come back and say, oh, you can't win the case because the creditors or the credit bureaus have proper information. They already knew that from the get-go. That's what they were going to do. But because you just want to get out of your debt, not be responsible for it, you're falling for their horseshit. Now they're taking your money, and you cannot sue them because in their defense, they sent the letter for you. And it's not working because the credit bureau has updated information. That's the new scam that's going on with this whole consumer law thing. Now, how it's really done is that an attorney, a real attorney, will not charge you any money up front. They do not charge up front. They get paid if they win a case. An attorney does not charge you up front. A real attorney that specializes in consumer law does not charge you up front. They get paid at the end of the case. Now, these gurus are telling you can get a lot of money. They're full of shit. They're lying. You cannot. The most you'll probably get if, and that's a big if you win a case, probably $1,000, $1,500, then the attorney that represents you has to get a third of that as their fee. Now, attorneys that do these cases, they just don't sit and take these cases just because they're not doing anything. They actually do some research before they take the case because some of these cases are not worth their time because they're not making money in it. So they rather put their resource and their time somewhere else where they're going to make money. So there's a very thin line when it comes to consumer law and if you can sue the credit bureaus, all right, that fall into consumer law and how this works. One of them is the Truth in Lending Act. We're going to go over that. Second one is the Fair Credit Reporting Act, the Equal Credit Opportunity Act, and the Fair Debt Collection Practice Act. If you don't know what those are, Google them and understand what the law is. Because there's three sides to the situation. There's your side, there's a creditor side, and there's the truth. And this is why some attorneys don't take the case because 99% of you guys don't even know how to read a credit report. So you don't even know what's right or wrong on the credit report. You just listen to these fake gurus running off their mouth on someone's podcast talking about, oh, did you know you could sue the credit bureaus? You can make a lot of money. Listen, it's not that easy. It's not. All right. So those are some of the 5 key components that falls under the consumer law. Now, let's talk about the Truth in Lending Act. Let me ask you something. When you open a credit card, you apply for the credit card, you get approved. There's a disclosure, whether you do it online or in person, there's a disclosure. And that disclosure tells you payments, agreements, interest rates. Have you ever opened a credit card and never got that document? You always got that document. You have to sign it. It's your fault that you didn't read it. So how are you going to sue the creditors or the credit bureaus saying that this information wasn't provided? It was provided. On top of that, how did they prove it? You had the card, you were using it and swiping it and paying it. So you had some knowledge of what you were doing. You understand how to pay the credit card back. You understand what interest rates are, APRs are. All right. The Fair Credit Reporting Act. Yes, they have to make sure that the credit reports are updated and reporting the right data. Now, do you know the data that gets on your credit report comes from the creditor? The credit bureaus do not own the data. They just house the data. So if you have, let's say you had a Capital One credit card. Okay. You had it for 5 years. All of a sudden you moved. You applied for a Credit One credit card. You did not update Capital One with the new moving address. But when you apply for your Credit One card, you provided your new address. Credit One is going to report that address to the credit bureaus. That's how that data got there. I'm just giving you guys basic examples of the things these people are talking about you can sue. How the information got to your credit report. This is why you cannot sue them. Right? The Equal Credit Opportunity Act. Everyone has a right to get a credit card. If your credit scores are up to where the bank deemed it to be qualifiable. Right? If you have bad credit, you get subprime credit cards. If you have good credit, you get prime credit cards. The Fair Debt Collection Practice Act. Read that law. Please read that law. That law basically, you have to understand how banks work. their collection practice internally works than after 180 days externally. Yes, you're going to be able to write a letter to a third-party collection agency that's servicing the debt to the credit bureaus. The credit bureau is going to send it to the creditor or the third-party collection agency. The third-party collection agency is going to remove themselves off the report, and the debt goes back to the original creditor. Yes, that you don't need a rocket scientist to tell you that. I'm telling you that's what happens. But the debt never leaves you. It circles back around to another collection agency. So all you're doing is writing letters and spinning tails. Understand what that law is. So what I'm trying to tell you guys, the fifth one was the Electronic Fund Transfer Act. How funds is transferred from banks. How debt's paid to the banks. You have to read all those things to understand it. The Dodge-Franklin Act. It's black and white what Dodge-Franklin Act was about, right? In 2007, it's black and white. It tells you what you can know, what you cannot do as a consumer. But these fake gurus are sitting here and throwing these words that they don't even know what it means out, and you're getting excited. Oh, he knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's talking about. No, he doesn't. He's a credit guru scam. Follow their background. See where they came from. You'll see all they're doing is hopping on, hopping off, hopping on, hopping off the services. Because one service that they were doing is dried up. They're not making money. Let me find another hustler. Let me find another scam. Let me find another idiot to scam. So you guys are getting all excited about this consumer law thing, thinking it's that easy. You're just going to get out of debt. The last thing I want to tell you guys, we are so far in technology. These banks and credit bureaus are so real-time with updated information. This is not like 2000, 1985, 1990, where things was done on paper and pen. No. We are so far in the technology that things are real-time. This is why the credit bureau says they need 45 days to investigate something, but it's actually done in 10 days. But they cover themselves 45 days. All right? So be careful where you are getting this information from about fixing things in your credit report, the Consumer Act laws and the consumer laws, whatever these guys are talking about. Do your research. It's relatively available at your fingertip. On top of that, one last thing I want to tell you guys. Before you go to an attorney to hire them to sue the credit bureaus or the creditors, and by the way, when you send a letter to the credit bureaus, if you're suing them, you have to send the same letter to the creditors that provided the data. Right? But before you go to hire an attorney, you have to have started an initial investigation with the credit bureaus already on your own and proved that the credit bureaus did not provide the information, send you an updated report, whatever the case may be, within that 45 days before you can hire an attorney. That's how it works. Because the attorney is going to ask you, how do you know what information is incorrect? How do you know where the violation is at? You need to know that before you go to the attorney. But what these credit gurus are telling you, they're looking at your credit report. Oh, we found this mistake. That may not even be a mistake. They're just telling you that because you don't even know what's on your credit report. You don't even know how to read the credit report. So that's what I need to talk to you guys about on consumer laws. Google it, research it. If you have any questions, drop a comment below, and talk to you guys soon.